Hello, welcome to Life with Miss D. Today is a special day. I have some great friends with me today. Actually, I'm on a girls trip and I have my sorority sisters from Alpha Kappa Alpha. Yeah, you guessed it. We do have on our pink and green. And I have an idea just to have a podcast with my girls. And so we're just gonna have a casual discussion, an informal discussion, and they don't want to be on camera, so you'll just be seeing me, but you will be hearing them, so they'll need to make sure they speak up loud and clear so that they can be picked up on the camera. But we're gonna go get started and just talk about some trending topics and just have an informal discussion. Is that okay with you guys? Is that okay?
Yes. Sounds great.
All right, let's do it. Okay, and just remember some of the guidelines we talked about. Let's be respectful and be of everyone, and keep our comments not too long so everybody have a chance to speak. All right, so the first question, ladies, tell me how important, well, wait a minute, let me just introduce a little bit more who my speakers are. Okay, first of all, I'm Dolores. If you don't know, I'm Miss D, and let me just tell a little bit about us. We graduated back in, what year was that, you guys? Not graduated. What year did we pledge? Okay. Okay, so most of us, we pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha spring of 1990. So we have been knowing each other for about, what, how many years, y'all? Tell the truth.
33, isn't it?
About, yeah, over 30 years, you guys. So that's how long we've known each other. And so we like to travel and get together. And so I want to just ask this first question. And also I need to preface this. I'm a nurse. You want to tell me what you do for a living?
I'm a nuclear medicine technologist.
Okay. And this is Miss T. Okay.
I'm a real estate broker.
Real estate broker.
And I am an HR professional.
HR professional. So we have a lot of experience and education in this room. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first question is, can you tell me about how important it is for friendships, long-lasting friendships? Anybody want to talk about friendships? How important is friendships? Anybody want to talk on that? Anybody?
Well, I think friendships are very important. I think just like with anything that you have in life, whether it's your family, your career, relationships are very important because, you know, boyfriends, husbands, they come and go.
Yeah, they
but your girlfriends, if you have really good girlfriends, they will be there for the death of your parents. They'll be there when you're dealing with things in your relationship. They're the one thing that you can usually count on to be a constant. I mean, think about it. We've been together for 33 years, and we've seen the good times, we've seen the bad times, and the one thing that I think has been very consistent is that we've been there to like raise each other up. And I think it's a beautiful thing when you find strong black women that support each other. Mm-hmm. We're not competing with each other. Mm-hmm. We are just good, strong sisters that want to see each of us individually succeed and collectively succeed as a group. And so my friendship, I always treasure my friendships. And granted, you know, things get in the way. You know, life gets in the way. We have kids. We have to deal with taking care of our kids, our spouses. But I've always managed to nurture my relationships with my girlfriends too, because they're just as important to me as any other relationship that I have.
All right. Thank you, Miss Stacy. Anybody else?
Well, also you have to remember
Speak
that
up.
with friendship, you don't have to talk to them every day. But when they call, you there. And that's, I think that's very important in a friendship, is that you don't have to talk to each other every day, and they still know that you're there regardless. And then also, when I remember 30 years ago when I met you guys, they always said we want to have a sisterhood for life. I truly did not believe that.
I didn't believe it either.
But when
I didn't
I'm
believe
looking
it.
30 years plus and we still have relationships, it's just wonderful. And I also, like I said, we know we have each other back, and we also have to, like Stacy said, nurture our friendship.
Yes.
We've been slack over the years because, we all have things to do. We have families, we have, children and spouses and stuff like that, and you have to nurture that too. But we also need to take care of our friendship.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? I want to say that friendship is important to me, and I realize as I've gotten older, kind of who my true friends are. You know how you be thinking people are your friends, and then you realize, no, they're more like an associate. But I do treasure the friendship with you guys, and just like Talitha said, Miss T said, we have family, we have careers, we're busy. I was real busy with church, spouse, all kinds of things, but it's just good to stay in contact with one another. And I have to credit Miss Stacy for keeping in contact with me, because Stacy would call me and I wouldn't even hardly call her. Stacy would be the one to kind of check in on everybody. So I have to give it up for Miss Stacy for keeping us in contact.
It's a mutual thing of if you have the same respect for each other.
Yes.
And the thing that's about us, and I know I'm a little older because I was in the sorority before you guys came on, but one of the great things about friendship is you have long-lasting friends who never leave you. So when you get together, it's like you've never been apart, because you catch up, each other's personality, what that person likes, what makes them tick, and we can just remember and reminisce over good times and the things that we've shared with each other, cried with each other, gone through whatever it is that we go through, knowing that friend is genuinely going to pick up the phone and talk to you, or pick up the phone and say, are you okay? I just saw on Facebook you were in the hospital, are you okay? So those kind of things, you never lose that over time. No matter how old we grow and our hair gets gray, things in life change, and we really do. To me, friendship is a mutual respect, and growing as we grow older, we value them and treasure them more, because we see a lot of people leaving here, and we value those friends that you've been friends with for childhood friends from college, friends from graduate school, nursing school, whatever. You value those relationships, and I think our friendship has withstood the time because of key elements. Stacy staying in touch with everybody, and then us having time to spend with each other, and we make it a priority to take time for us to get together and spend time and have fun.
Yeah, I want to say that this is a girls trip 2023. We're in Tybee Island, Georgia right now. It's raining outside, so we're just sitting inside and right with the ocean front view, and we're just, having a casual conversation. I want to also say that when Stacy would call me, you guys, we hadn't talked probably in months. We would get on the phone and she would call me, and it's just like I spoke to her yesterday. We catch up on everything, and we're good, but it might be another 2, 3, 4 months, 5, 6 months, or maybe even a year before I hear from her again. But whenever I pick up the phone with her, we just get back in the groove and catch up with each other. So anyway, let me move on. The next question, since we're talking about friendships and relationships, let's go on the other spectrum and talk about the men and male relationships. What is your feelings on this is in general, you don't have to talk about your own life, but I keep seeing divorces, I keep seeing people, I don't know, I just keep seeing, it seems like the family is just breaking down. The black family is breaking down. We're talking about African Americans, since we're all African Americans here. It just seems like I just keep seeing that over and over, and it's just like a little bit disheartening to me. I don't know if you all have keeping up with what's been trending. I know Tia Mowry and her husband, Corey Hardrick, they just recently divorced, I believe, and Jenny Mai and Jeezy divorced. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but it's just so many. It just seems like everything's just breaking down, and it's sad to me. What, any thoughts on black love or anything? Any thoughts on that? Relationships?
Well, I think what we need to realize that
Speak up if you would.
have to
Speak
be
up.
with each other through the good times and the bad times. It's not going to be all fun. A relationship is work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work at it every single day. I am divorced. I have been divorced over 20 something years. And I also had to realize everybody is not meant to be married.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to have that other person to make you feel whole. And we as women need to learn how to stand on our own before we go into a relationship, and not think that a man or whomever you're having a relationship with is your be all and do all. That's where we fall short. We need to realize that when you stand up there and take those vows and you make a promise to each other, that is a lifelong promise, and it is work. And that's, I think, what people, they date a few years or 6 months or whatever and get married, and then as soon as the first time he makes you cry or disagree with you or whatever, somebody want to walk out the door. Mm-hmm. Certain things you need to have a discussion about before you even get married. And I think that's what we feel. We just like, oh, I'm in love, I'm getting married, that's it. It is a full-time job. Mm-hmm. And it's doable though. And that's the thing people need to understand. But it's not about all the good times. You have to go through other times with each other. And I'm open to a relationship or marriage or whatever, but I also have come to the realization everybody is not meant to be married. And I might be one of them. But I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Because as I say, I have a relationship with the good Lord, and right now that's all I need. And I think that we need to realize that it's for the long haul, not no get married today and divorce tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Especially when you have children.
Yeah.
And you don't stay together just because of children either. But you don't just walk out on a relationship without even trying.
Yeah. Well, what I want to say is that, I came from a broken home as a child. I grew up a single parent home. My mom divorced my father, my biological father, at a young age. And then she remarried later, and then she remarried again. But I just didn't have that stable home, and I just really always wanted, I really did. I always wanted like a family. Mom and dad and the kids. I just wanted a family. And to me, that's why it's just so sad when I see families, break up, split up, divorce. It's just, to me, the African American family really needs to be together, work together. They need to, they really need to take marriage and family seriously. And sometimes I just don't believe that, African American men really take commitment serious, really take marriage serious. I don't feel like they really take it serious. Maybe I'm biased because of my personal experiences, but a lot of the African American men that I'm seeing and other people I talk to, they're having a hard time getting someone to commit, getting someone to marry. They rather just live together. They don't really have that family thing, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm just saying. They don't have family as their focus. I don't know.
So I think it's unfair to put all black men
You're
in
right.
that category.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
I
agree.
think we as sisters do need to understand that our black men have a heavy burden, and they have a heavier burden than most of their peers.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we enter into like these relationships, I think a lot of black women focus more on these big fancy weddings and having all the pomp and circumstance. I'm on my first marriage, and I was 39 years old, but I grew up in a household where my parents were together for 25 years, my grandparents were together, and my grandfather, my dad, my uncles taught me what I needed to expect from a man, and I didn't need to settle for a man treating me any different than feeling safe and secure than they made me feel. And at 39, obviously I dated, during those years, and I never tried to make something feel good to me that didn't feel good to me. I read all of the flags. I was supposed to be married 2-3 times before I actually walked down the aisle, but if it didn't feel right to me, I didn't want to like get myself caught up in that situation, because I saw friends and relatives going through all of the trauma of being divorced and all of that. So I was resigned to be by myself, but then it's like, you know, when you start praying and asking God to put the person in your life that needs to be in your life, and in my situation, I wanted somebody that didn't need to be with me, that didn't need me to sponsor him, that didn't need anything from me. He wanted to be with me because he chose me. And when I started focusing on that, you know, like I said, I was 39 getting married, and what did I do? I went to the preacher's office, and we got married at the preacher's office.
Yeah, I didn't get no invite to the wedding.
Nobody got my parents. We were the only 2 people there, and the secretary was the witness, because we wanted to focus on our marriage and not like, because we were like, we're going to spend all this money for one day in a party, and that's not what we wanted to do. We just wanted to be starting our lives with our focus being on God, and asking Him to like ordain our situation in our marriage. And I think, and I remember going into counseling earlier that day, and I remember the minister asking me, why do you want to marry him? And I never even thought about it until he asked me, and it just came immediately. I said, this is the only man that's ever made me feel safe like my dad and my grandfather and my uncles made me feel safe. That's how I knew he was the lid to my pot. And I think we get caught up in, you know, getting married. And I was there too. I remember my friends were all getting married, and I'm like, man, I want to be married too, because my friends were getting married, and then y'all didn't have time to hang out with me. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Maybe if I get married, we could do couples things together. But it's like, I almost like went down that rabbit hole, but it was just like, okay, you need to take a step back. Is this really, because I had bigger goals and bigger plans in life. And marriage is not easy, but you got to be willing to commit to the good times, the bad times. When I'm sick and throwing up, if I need you to hold my hair, and if I don't make it to the toilet to throw up, I need to know that I'm sick, and you're not going to make me go in there and clean the mess up that you got me. That's what that you know, what's that singer? He says that struggle love. You got to be willing to go through that struggle love. If you got to be all in or not all in, and that's kind of how I view it. But I think, you know, we got to lift our black men up. I'm not saying that we got to put up with their crap, because I'm not putting up with anybody's crap. But we got to think about their mental health. We got to protect them if we want them to protect us.
Everybody, please just try to speak up as loud as you can, because we don't have any microphones on anybody, so I want to make sure the audio is okay for this video. Anybody else want to comment?
I've never been married, and but I have siblings that have all been married, one 3 times and one twice. He's still in his 2nd marriage, and all my 5 siblings, or 6 of us all together, but all of them went through divorce, and I know how devastating divorce can be to the family. And when you mention the black statistics of the, you know, I think our rate is higher than the 50% national average for successful relationships. But one of the things is you got to respect one another, and if you take those vows, whether you're in a covenant marriage or just a regular marriage, seriously, then you get the professional counseling you need to keep your relationship and your partnership healthy. And when I do see people giving up on black love or giving up completely on relationships, I kind of feel like, you know, that's kind of sad. And when I know that I've had friends who've been successfully married and happily married for years, and it's just, it's a different thing. Yeah, it is. But I think it's everyone finds their lid that fits their pot. Or as my great aunt Gladys used to say, your rib. So the rib that God designed for you is going to fit just right. So when you find that number one, I think you'll know it.
Yeah, and I'm on my 2nd marriage, so But yeah, I think we just need to kind of get back to
Some of the basics.
God and the basics. Yeah, just get back to the basics. Okay, the next question is I want to switch a little bit. I want to talk about our careers. When we were in college, we went to University of Arkansas Little Rock, UALR. We had such high aspirations for our careers. We're going to make it to the top, six-figure jobs. We're going to be bosses. We're going to be this and that. You know how you're young, you're 20 years old. You got the world ahead of you. So I just want to talk about our careers and, careers in general, especially for African American women. What's your feelings on careers and climbing the corporate ladder or becoming an entrepreneur? What are your thoughts on that?
I encourage, and I'll answer that question because I really do think that you can have it all. You can have a career, you can have a healthy marriage, and you can have a family if you choose to. Mm-hmm. One good thing about us as educated Black women, we knew that there are certain things that you have to do to maintain the career that you want. I was in commercial banking for 18 years, and one day, out of the blue, you can be replaced. You are replaceable. And it set me on a trajectory to do something totally different that God had in store for me. Mm-hmm. And I do encourage people, when you go through things in your career, glass ceilings, things that seem like denied opportunities, turn that into an opportunity to do something else and value your talents that they may not see. Because so many times you're overlooked because you're a faithful worker, you'll always show up. They don't think of you as anything that's spectacular, but you're spectacular in your own right. And I am encouraging, especially the younger Blacks that are in our community today, especially in our churches and places, of encouraging them to do what they feel a passion for, mm-hmm. what they love. Although they may have to get a regular job to pay the bills, but they still should pursue their passion, because you can turn a little hobby of baking cakes into a multi-million-dollar business because you have a great recipe or something great to do. And I just know there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there that got their start by having some calamity happen in their career, and it set them on a different trajectory, and it helped. It blessed them and blessed their families and created that generational wealth. And I do think Blacks have a difficult time in corporate America because they don't want to spare. And many times we have to overperform our peers in order to be respected and gain the promotions and the salaries and things that we're really worth, but we have to work so much harder to get them. So yeah, in our careers we had big aspirations, and I'm so proud of all of us because I think we've all done well with what God gave us. And when we ever had a tragedy or a calamity to overcome, we moved in the direction that the Lord led us, and our intelligence led us. And we're doing things that we never knew we would be doing at this age in our lives. We're so happy. I'm happy with what my choices are and what God gave me. So I just want to encourage people that are out there that may need some oomph. You can still do it. Even at age 50, if something happens to you, you can still make your life fantastic.
So you switched from banking to real estate.
I went from being a commercial loan officer at a family-owned bank that was sold 3 times, and I left after the 4th merger. And I don't look back. It's like in my rearview mirror. It was a different door that God opened and had me, and now I work for myself. Although I work under a brokerage, I work for myself.
But a lot of those skills that you learned in banking,
it
carried over to your other career.
Business, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my business.
Anybody?
And relationships are so important.
Yeah, I think
careers.
Careers are important because I think as a Black woman, I always felt like I had a security blanket because I always knew my dad was going to take care of me. So I didn't have the motivation to go out there and like kill myself to accomplish my goals and my dreams. But I did have enough instinct and my dad encouraging me that I needed to have a career and you need a job, you need to be able to take care of yourself. You don't need to depend on anybody else to take care of you. The one thing that benefited me in my career was having a mentor that would help me and guide me throughout my career. Not somebody that was just like a short-term fixture in my life. This is somebody that 33 years in the field is still my mentor and somebody that I can pick up the phone and call. And even though my career development, I own that, but having that person that will tell you what you need to hear versus what they think you want to hear, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, they don't want you to be mad. For us as Black people, it's going to be critical if you think you're going to break through that glass ceiling, because some of the people that we work with in corporate America don't want to see us succeed, and they're going to not do everything that they would do for somebody else that's working right beside you to help you succeed. So you need to be out trying to find that trusted confidant, whoever that person is. And if they tell you you need to cut your beard, you need to dress a different way, whatever they tell you, you need to listen to them. And I think we, as Black professionals, whether it's Black professional women or men, we need to try to seek those people out that we think we can help, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have somebody that cared as much about my career success as I cared about it. And you know, I'm very grateful for where I am. My career took a different path because I got, like I said, I got married a little later in life. I had a baby, and I was traveling, and I had been a career woman forever. But I'm on the road traveling, and the one day that I call and my 2-year-old doesn't want to talk to me on the phone was the day that I had to decide if this is the career that I want. And I had to do some pivoting and do some adjusting, but I still managed to maintain my career. I just took a different path. But I think the one thing that we need to make sure that we help other young Black professionals understand is that all money isn't good money. Amen. And don't sell your soul chasing after the almighty dollar, because at the end of the day, you gotta like the person that you're looking in the mirror at every night before you lay your head on that pillow. And they'll make you think that it's all roses and it smells good and it's lavender, but everything isn't great, and you will lose yourself if you put everything into a job and then that job you lose it or whatever, it'll destroy you. So you just need to know it is what it is. It's a job, and you got that one when you were looking for one, and if it's the Lord's will, you'll find another one. But don't put everything on a career, because there are other things that are just as important as you having a career. That's just one aspect of who you are as a person and that individual.
Yeah, I had to learn that too. You do have to have that balance, you know,
Yes.
that balance of family life, work balance. So that's something we all have to learn and have to balance it all.
And then also you need to remember to, like she said, that it's a new generation now. The values that we had growing up, and also that our parents and everybody instilled is not the same thing that the younger generation have. So sometimes you have to realize you can't compare your situation to their situation. But I feel like what you can do is this is what I tell everybody that's new. I work in the field of radiology. This is what I tell all new technologists. Let your work speak for itself. Do not burn any bridges, because the world, that particular field is a small field. You never know when you have to cross that bridge again. Do not put your name on something that you know is not acceptable. And treat everybody the way you want yourself to be treated, and your family members, and you'll never go wrong. Just because they got doctor in front of their name don't mean that you need to treat them any different than a homeless person. And that is my motto. And I'm one of the ones, I was at the same job for over 25 years. And and then they eliminated my position. Yes, I was upset. Yes, I have other degrees. And yes, I did do something else for about 6 months. But I was not ready to leave my career. I was not ready to do that. So guess what? I reinvented myself, and now I'm traveling around all over doing the same thing that I know what I know. you know, and I go out there and I do the best in our ways. And even this is the testament to your work. When you have patients saying, you must really love your job. How long you been doing this? And I said, over half my life. 30 plus years. And I still love it today like I did when I first started. So that's the thing. Let your work speak for itself. Let your attitude reflect how you feel about your career. And remember that everybody's not going to be about the way you are. It's more than one way to do everything. But leave a place and you can always go back to it. Do your best work and treat people the way you want to be treated and you want your family members to be treated, and you will never go wrong.
Yeah, that's the golden rule. I'm gonna pause right here. Okay, so we're getting ready to end shortly, but one last question. Well, I really got two, but I guess I better make it one. Okay, we're all in the 50s club. If we want to be honest, we're in the 50s club now. What would you tell your younger self when you were like in college in 18, 19, 20 years old? What would you tell your younger self? What advice would you give your younger self if you could go back in time and give some advice based on what you know now? Any thoughts on that? Is that too hard? I might do two questions, but
So
anything.
I would tell my
What
younger
advice?
self not to spend all her money on shoes, and that she didn't have to buy a new pair of shoes every week or every time she got a paycheck or an allowance or something like that. I would teach her to be more fiscally responsible at an earlier age.
All right.
Which is what I'm trying to teach my son. I have a 14-year-old, and I'm trying to instill those lessons in him sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Stacy was the one that always had the designer purses and the real nice, expensive stuff when we was in college. All right, anybody else?
Again, if I had some really good friends, they would have told me to stop buying that.
And I was the one that told her it's okay to shop on the sales rack, and she started doing it.
And I still do that to this day.
Anybody else? What advice would you give your younger self now that
I
you
would tell my younger self to take better care of my health. As I say, everybody has a past, and I, you know, my eating and stuff was not the best. And now that I'm in the 50 plus club, it's caught up with me. And I would say that's my biggest regret, that I didn't try to keep my exercise and do the things that I know are the right things to do. And you know, when you get our age, your knees don't move like they used to, your back don't hold up like it used to, but you still got to keep pushing forward. And I think the thing is, remember that the things that you put into your body at a young age will manifest itself. So you need to be know what you're doing. Keep up with what you're doing, because it will affect you later on in life. Mm-hmm. And some stuff you can't change. Mm-hmm. You cannot change no matter what you do. But some stuff you can. And that, I think that's my biggest regret, is not taking my health as seriously as I should have. Mm-hmm. But now I can say I'm doing it now. I take care of myself. I can do better though. There's always room to improve.
Mm. I guess the only advice I would give my younger self, in looking back, is to spend more time with taking care of myself personally, mentally, physically, that kind of thing, because I was so busy taking care of my ill parents and ill cousins and aunts and sometimes the caregivers in the middle of, well, you can call that person, they can come in and go with you, whatever, and always being there for others. Sometimes you need to be there for yourself. Right. And that was just the one thing that I did a lot of, giving. And sometimes giving back can be exhaustive. I was a public servant for a short period of time in my 20s to 30s. And your phone rings and you're putting out fires and helping, craft legislation to help improve something for your community. And you don't realize how draining that is physically and emotionally. Mm-hmm. So I would say take better mental care of myself rather than taking care of lots of others. And sometimes they see that, oh, you're not married, they put more on the person that's single in the family to do because you don't have any responsibility, that kind of thing. So
Right.
I would definitely give my younger self advice to take care of number one first and let everybody else go.
Yeah, they say put your mask on before you help somebody else put their mask on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I would tell my younger self to really keep Christ first in your life and stay close to Christ and really seek Him for wisdom regarding your life and not just go out and make decisions out there on my own and pray for the best and hope it works. You know, really seek God. Seek God about my career. Really seek God about who I marry, who I date, and really just trying to do what the Word of God says. And, you know, don't compromise. Don't let nobody make you compromise what you've been taught as a little child. When you know right from wrong, don't let them compromise you where you out here doing stuff you know is not right. You know, I think back and I regret, you know, some of the things I've done, you know, in the past. You know, we were young, stupid, dumb, naive. And when I think back and I look at, when I think back at somebody I dated that past, God. And I said, oh, God. And, you know, I'm like, Lord, thank you for helping me dodge that bullet, you know, one bullet. But, it's, you know, it's like, now that I'm older, I'm wiser, you know, and I'm, you know, I just really understand that God's word is there to protect us. God's word is there to help us to not have to make so many poor choices and decisions and having all these regrets later, you know. So I have tried to train my son up in the Lord and trying to help him to get his life started, you know, to really seek Christ, to make decisions and, you know, stand on His word and just remember God got my back, you know, not walking in fear and just really trusting in God. You know, that's one of my favorite verses is Proverbs 3 and 5. Yes, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. And in all your ways acknowledge Him. He'll direct your path. Yeah. And I think, you know, God, I think He put y'all in my path, you know, because I'm a young girl going to college for the first time. Y'all, I'm about to cry. I'm a young girl going to college for the first time. First person in my family to go to college. And I met you guys at ULR. I didn't have no friends, and I was older than you guys, you know. And I went back to school after I had my nursing degree. I said, I'm going to go back and get my bachelor's degree. I'm going to go back to school. And I said, you know what? I'm going to join the sorority. I want some friends. I'm going to join the sorority. And look at that. God put you guys in my life, you know, because, you know, and look at us today, 30 years later, 30 plus years later. I just praise God. But, you know, that's why the Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him and He will direct your path.
Yes, He will.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me stop because I'm crying. But you guys, thank you so much for agreeing to do this podcast. Yay! All right.